A grandmother's presence, the test of patience and love. 7 years ago, my mother offered to take in my grandmother, my father's mother, after both my parents retired. Before that, my grandmother lived with my father's younger sibling, but they claimed they were too busy with work and couldn't take care of her anymore. At first, everything seemed fine. My grandmother was just as I remembered her whenever we visited her home. But after a few months, things started to change, and we were shocked to see her true nature. She was proud, harsh, and had no hesitation in yelling at my father, my mother, and even me. It all started one day when she called me, but I didn't hear her. When I finally came to help her into her room, she suddenly lashed out. She pushed her cane toward me, trying to hit me, but luckily, I managed to dodge. My parents witnessed the whole thing. Her expression was filled with anger as she glared at me and shouted, "Why didn't you come right away?" My father tried to calm her down, but that only made her angrier. She was the kind of person who always had to win. She could never be wrong. In her rage, she even cursed me, saying, "Just wait, one day you'll go blind." And yet, instead of expecting an apology from her, my parents forced me to say sorry, even though I had done nothing wrong. I had to stand there crying and apologize to her, not out of regret, but out of sadness, disappointment, and pain. And when I finally said sorry, she simply replied, "Don't do it again." There was no remorse, no acknowledgement of her own mistake. She just sat there with her usual arrogance. That was just the beginning. After that, our peaceful home became filled with her yelling and insults whenever she was upset. I'm someone who likes to write, and I often express my feelings through words. One day, I wrote a short piece about my emotions and posted it on WhatsApp, without mentioning names. But my father's younger sibling read it, assumed it was about our grandmother, and confronted me. Out of frustration, I admitted it was about her. Instead of showing understanding, they got angry and said they would take her back to their house. But they never apologized. They never acknowledged the suffering we endured. My grandmother treated my mother terribly, even though my mother did everything for her more than my father did. My mother bathed her, changed her diapers, cooked for her, and took care of all her needs. And yet, my grandmother never appreciated her. Instead, she favored her other daughters-in-law, who never even took care of her. She wouldn't even call my mother by her name. She would just ask, "Where's that woman?" As if my mother were just a servant. It was heartbreaking, knowing that the very person who cleaned her, fed her, and cared for her was the one she treated the worst. Whenever my father's siblings visited, they never helped my mother. They only made things harder for her. They never offered money for food, never lifted a finger to assist, and once they left, they didn't even say thank you. They just returned to their own comfortable lives, while we remained stuck in this situation. And then 7 years passed. Now my grandmother is bedridden, but her mind is frozen in time, stuck in the period when she hated my mother the most. Every day, my mother has to endure her insults. My father, too. As for me, I'm no longer allowed to interact with her because my parents don't want me to get hurt by her words. But I feel sorry for my mother. She's 64 now, and my father's 70. They're getting older. Yet my father's younger siblings, who are still strong, never once offered to take care of her. Still, my mother stays strong, not for herself, but for my father. She believes that taking care of her mother, dash and dash law dot, is a path to heaven for her. And I know there are many others out there who are facing the same struggle. To those who feel trapped in this situation, stay strong. Be patient, not because you are weak, but because your kindness and endurance are seen by the one above. And in the end, Commandant goodness will always come back to those who keep their hearts pure.